What's up? This is the Know Nothings podcast with Mike
and Ray. Welcome aboard. What's going on, man?
Oh man, I'm kind of out of it today.
Yeah, I see that. That's okay. we're gonna snap too, though.
We snapping too?
Yeah. Yeah.
I tried to watch some things, some current event things.
Oh, look at you.
And they all suck.
Yeah.
There's no current events or anything.
No current events really going on.
Well, there are. There's nothing I really like to talk about.
Yeah, Olivia Newton John passed away. That was kind of sad.
Grease.
Wasn't a huge fan, but
what other things she had? Did she the one that did the song like
"Let's Get Physical"?
That's a great. I like that more than Grease.
That might be the cheesiest video I've ever seen.
Let's get physical, and then she says "animal." Let's get animal. Like what?
She was very sexual.
Really?
Yeah, I guess. Seems like it. I mean, she was Andrew D.
I mean, was that a whole? Was the "let's get physical" thing? Does that just mean sex?
Yeah, that was it. It was all about sex.
But the video was her working out. I thought it was like a tip your hat. It was like working out.
It was like 1983, right? So you were 4. Yeah. So you had to be thinking it was working out. I mean, I was 6. I thought it was about treadmills also. Or did they have treadmills then? Or it was like they were on bikes, right? They were on bikes.
They had to have had some kind of funky, huge treadmill thing that people were using.
Yeah, and Olivia Newton John was 73. I did some quick math. Like, well, wait, Grease came out in like 78. So that's 44 years ago. So she was like 29 when she was playing this high school kid.
Yeah, well, that's the way they used to do it.
They all were. Like John Travolta had to be 30.
Yeah, that's how they used to do it back in the day.
And Kanicki. Was that his name, Kanicki?
I don't know.
A hickey. Yeah, you get a hickey from Kanicki. You get a hickey from Kanicki. Kanicki had to be like 43 years old when he was playing a teenager.
He looked 43 though, and the funny thing is, like, I can't remember a whole lot from that movie. I just remember when she came out in all the leather, and then everybody was like, "Oh, she's a badass now."
Tell me about it, stud. Yeah.
That's right.
She flipped the switch. She had she got her cigarettes, got her leather pants, and yeah. But did you hear how she passed? I didn't hear the exact. No. I didn't hear the details about it. So
I don't either. I don't know. I guess I could look it up.
Yeah, it's it had to be. I think it was just natural causes.
Yeah.
73, but 73 seems kind of young now, right?
It does seem kind of young now, and I think maybe it was maybe because she started smoking cigarettes and living the bad life right then and there.
You think that's what
at the end of the show, she just started living her life that way.
Yeah,
and then things happened.
Then you saw you said you didn't see, but Ozzy went and closed out the Commonwealth Games. Duran Duran played, Drexy's Midnight Runners played, and of course Ozzy has Parkinson's. He had surgery which they thought might kill him. He's basically immobile, and then there was unannounced. Nobody at the Commonwealth Games knew. It was like 130,000 people at this event, and nobody knew he was going to play. He ended up closing it out. It's a huge fireworks show. I think that he played to a backing track, or he played to I don't want to, but it looks like he might have mimed it, but it's okay. I mean, he got up on stage and did his thing. Like, no one's giving him shit about it either, because he's like, they're like, well, dude, we thought he was dead. We didn't think he was gonna, and here he is. He got up there. They had to, like, basically, I guess, some kind of prop him up and strap him in.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh man.
Because he's not very stable right now, and he did it on 6 days' notice. Oh. I mean, there was no plan to play or.
He was really old back on the show,
which was 20 years ago.
I know, but he was old then.
He was.
Do you think they just hit him with some adrenaline? He's like, oh, and they shuffle him out there on a cart.
I can tell you, well, from seeing him 15 times, he just flips a switch when he hits the stage. Always.
Well, he's done it his whole life.
Even if I've seen him. I guess the oldest I saw him was 68, 69 years old. He just flips a switch. It's just unbelievable.
I have to, like, confessions about Ozzy is probably the first time I ever really even listened to Ozzy back in the day was when I would sneak watch MTV at my aunt's house, because she was the only person that, when we'd go over there to visit, like in Washington, D.C., and I would go downstairs and turn that big TV on and like watch it, and I think I saw Mama, I'm Coming Home
Oh yeah,
You know,
which is a great tune.
Which is that's like the first time I ever saw him. I was like, oh, this is awesome.
He's got so many great tunes.
But then I've gone back since then and listened.
Yeah, you've gone back recently and got into some discovery mode.
It's pretty good.
It's pretty good.
It's pretty good. I didn't realize how good it was. I didn't realize, like you said, everybody tries to be Black Sabbath.
Everybody tries to be Black Sabbath.
Everybody tries to write those hard-hitting riffs.
What's so unique about Ozzy is to come out of a band like Black Sabbath, which is one of the big three of all the bands in the 70s. You Black Sabbath, Zeppelin, and Purple. Those are the three biggest bands. To come out of that, go solo, and be bigger as a solo artist than you were in a band that was as big as Black Sabbath. So he was in Sabbath, which is, I don't know, 100 million seller. So 10 times Diamond, and you go solo and are bigger than that. Like it's
quite an accomplishment.
No one's ever done it, I don't think, right?
I don't think so.
Who else has done it to that level? There's
Justin Timberlake. He left that band and he got huge.
That is fair. Justin Timberlake.
But I don't know if he got big like Ozzy big.
Timberlake's
there's a lot of people.
Timberlake's massive, and that's pop side.
Michael Jackson. He was in the Jackson 5.
Jackson 5. There's a few that have had Michael Jackson. But if you
his brother didn't do.
But on the
well.
rock and hard rock side, like David Lee Roth left Van Halen and went solo. It was. I mean, it was good. It was more successful than.
I'm just a gigolo.
It was more successful than like most.
I really like his stuff. It's funny.
It's fun, yeah,
and it's fun. It's just party time.
David Lee. I mean, a lot of people have tried to go solo, but I can't think of anyone that did it to the level that he did. That was in a band as big as Sabbath, and then I'm going to leave this, and was bigger.
JT was in NSYNC. Was he in NSYNC?
NSYNC, yeah, he wasn't the back. There was NSYNC.
They were huge.
Oh, they were massive. You talk, yeah, that's massive. They ran the pop world in 98, 99.
All those songs were written overseas in I'm totally gonna botch this up, but I want to say like in Norway or something. Like there was these dudes in a studio that wrote all those songs and Britney Spears songs and all that. I watched some documentary or something about it.
Did you see all the stuff going on with Britney? She's having. She's there's like a public feud with her. K-Fed's trying to put her on blast that she's not a good mom. Like, look how she talks to these kids. And then she's talking to the kids. She's talking to which are now like teenagers.
Yeah.
And to me, I'm like, well, she just sounds like a 40-year-old mom who's frustrated with her stupid ass teenage kids. Like, she didn't sound like she was just like, I don't know what to fucking do with y'all because y'all are going through puberty and it's just too much and y'all just getting on my nerve, like that kind of thing.
It sounds like normal parent stuff when you're just when you've been working all day, which I'm sure she might not have been working all day, but the kids, they do get on your nerves and you're just like, oh my god, you gotta have a time out every now and then.
So K-Fed says this is yesterday or the day before. K-Fed's putting her on blast, tried to he released these phone conversations between Britney and the teenagers. He's like, I gotta show she's unhinged.
And we're back.
Yeah, a little technical difficulty, so no big deal. We'll just splice that together to keep it rolling.
Just kick all those chords whenever you want. Just, and see what happens.
I didn't realize that would be that bad. But K-Fed's mad at Britney, and he's mad about the way because her teenage sons are apparently mad at Britney for taking nude pictures on Instagram, which you can understand. Imagine being a teenager and everyone sees your mom naked on the beach. She puts little stars over her nipples.
This is what he should be concerned about, not the way she's disciplining the children. It should be about her naked on the internet.
Yeah,
right?
To me, yeah, but I think she would just be like, I'm free to do what I want. I can do it. But she's lacking. She just got out of control of her dad, right? So her dad's had conservatorship. So I think now at 40 years old, she's like a 19-year-old going to college for the first time or something.
Oh, really goodness. Yeah, she's out of it. She's just like, woo.
Yeah, she's like naked every day. If you follow her on Instagram, she's like always has her clothes off.
You have to remember that she has been a star ever since she was a kid. So
like 8.
The fact that she's halfway normal is a miracle.
Is a shock, yeah. Did you happen to you didn't get a glimpse of Tommy Lee's unsolicited wiener pic he sent everyone?
I just read something about that because he told me to look at stuff, but
he just did a full nude spread
and then he deleted it real quick. right?
Yeah, I guess it was like maybe he was probably doing. I don't know if he was doing it with his girlfriend or whatever, or maybe he just wanted to show off his hog one more time.
Do you think that if you had a microphone that picked up every single person's phone in the world, when they all looked at that pic, it could just be like one big screenshot sound heard around the world?
Everyone got
like 100 million people screenshot sound. You know, it's just like, there it is forever.
I didn't let morbid curiosity get the best of me. I saw it was like Tommy Lee full nudes photo link, and I actually caught myself going to the link, and I was like,
no,
what am I going to the link for?
What am I doing?
Back.
Why?
Delete, abort mission.
Why? Yeah, I didn't even make it. I was like, oh yeah, everybody's seen it already, right? Yeah, but like you're like, hey, yeah, what?
That's exactly what happened. Yeah, I don't know what he's going for. I mean, he's obviously, dude. We know from the sex tape that he's hung like a mule.
Yeah, that whole movie. I watched that movie.
The Dirt?
No. The one about them stealing the sex tape.
Oh, Pam and Tommy. The whole series.
The series.
Yeah, it was great. It was really good.
Really made it was such an invasion of privacy on them.
Oh,
so
man.
It made me mad. It's messed up.
Yeah,
it's messed. It was such an invasion of privacy. That dude going in there and stealing it. If that's the way it really happened.
That is the way it went down. But you know, Tommy comes across as a dick in that like when he's pulling guns on contractors. It's like before there's any stealing, the dude's like pulling guns on contractors, and
he comes across as
a douche.
Yeah,
he really does.
Douchey. I wonder if that's how like the account. Like, do you think did they when they made the movie, did they have like final like cut of like, oh, I'm sure. Yeah, just leave me being a dick like that.
I'm sure. I mean, I think that's who he was then. I don't know if he's still like that, but I mean, I think
probably not. I would like to think he's not.
His son knocked him out 2 years ago.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
punched him out?
Yeah. Because he's like, I'm tired of your drunk, stupid ass, and like knocked him out. His 21-year-old son like knocked him out.
No matter if your dad's Tommy Lee, you still get embarrassed.
Yeah.
And knock him out.
Yeah. Obviously, I don't guess he had a chance to fight. I think it was a one-punch knockout, but Tommy was like on the internet, you know, crying about like, my son's just knocked me out. But
I don't know if I would go on the internet spread.
I wouldn't say a word.
I wouldn't be like, my son just knocked me out. That kid's got a hell of a right cross.
But I think they're cool now though. I think they've mended fences since. But yeah, I guess his oldest son Brandon knocked him out. So that leads me to believe that he's kind of a dude. And if you watch any of the Motley Crue stadium tour, have you seen any of the footage of it that's been going on? You know, the big stadium tour, Def Leppard.
You know, man, I bet that's awesome.
Yeah, it's Def Leppard, Motley Crue, Joan Jett, and Poison. I see it every night. So every night but every single night they go, and I know that bands do this, right? Like you have a shtick or you have the things you say. Mm-hmm. But Tommy says he has the same canned lines in every city. He gets out no matter what city he's in. He's like, hey, is this Phoenix? I thought this was Phoenix. And they're like, yeah, because you said Phoenix. You know how crowds go.
Oh, yeah, crowds go nuts when you say they're like, that's my town. Yeah. That's my town.
Yeah. So he goes, I thought this was Phoenix. And they go, yeah. And he goes, well, this can't be Phoenix because I haven't seen one fucking pair of titties. Not one titty. I don't care if they're saggy or old. I want to see some titties.
Hey.
But look, the next night, he goes, is this Boston? I thought this was Boston. And dude, so like I have it where the algorithm on TikTok is like pick me up where I'm going to always get every Motley Crue stadium tour because I watch them and like them and stuff. So every night I get a new one to be like, is this New Orleans? Yeah, this can't be New Orleans because I haven't seen one fucking pair of titties. Not one titty. I don't care if they're old or saggy. I want to see. I'm like, dude. I'm like, but he's 61, so it's like he's got to know that the internet's out there.
Oh, maybe he doesn't.
And people are just ragging him, right? Because they're like, bro, get some new lines.
Hold on. I kind of, when they came through years ago, I think he said the exact same thing at the, what did they call it in Bossier City? That big.
The Century Tell?
It was a Century Tell. I think he said the exact same thing then. And that was, oh my gosh.
20 years ago?
20 years ago. Like I said, he said the same thing.
He comes out. He comes out. He walks to the same places on the stage. It's same. I'm just like, man, it just looks. I don't know. Maybe I'm being too critical of it. Like you could get in the 80s and 90s when there was no internet, you could get away with doing the same exact show.
Nobody's down with the male chauvinist stuff anymore.
Plus,
without showing your titties.
Plus, that shit ain't cool no more.
It's not cool anymore.
It's not cool.
It's not fun anymore, and it's not cool.
Yeah, it really kind of looks lame.
It's lame, like we said in the last one. The old dude's like, "How hot is she?" You know,
Yeah.
it's like that. It's,
60.
I mean, come on,
60 years old. You've slept with 10,000 women. Like,
play the drums good. You're awesome. Just do that.
Just do that.
You don't got to go, "Hello, everybody. Insert thing I think is funny for the past 25 years."
Hell, he probably started that line in 83, 84. You know, like.
But in 83, 84, it was shirts off.
91, 94, 95.
Oh,
like,
shirts off. Just,
yeah.
Like, he's questioning our ability to take our shirts off here in Phoenix.
Yeah. Well, funny enough, they're still
now it's probably just, well.
No, they're doing it, but they're all like 42 to 65, right? So it's just flabby boobies. Here you go. And that's because the girls that are probably in their 20s probably aren't going to do that. I wouldn't think. Like,
I don't think so.
and they got it comes across real canned and weird and cheesy and hokey, and it kind of sucks for like.
Let me ask you this.
I just hate for like a band that's like so raw and rock and roll
to do that.
Become so canned and hokey, and
maybe they need to get a younger writer and have him write him some lines. Like, it's all show business. Get a writer to write you some funny. Though we watched a band the other night, they were really great, but like they're from around here. I don't remember their name, but between like songs, he would like try to tell jokes over here at Sundown.
Okay,
and he like tell jokes is just like, man, y'all are really good at music. Just do that. Like,
were they not good at jokes?
No, and he's like saying stuff, and it's like, you know, you got the talent to sing the songs. But, you know, in between the songs, when the other person runs off to use the bathroom and you go into your comedy stand-up about something, not cool.
Yeah,
just don't do that.
It can be cool if you're that guy.
He wasn't.
Yeah, but some people are.
I was really, really like they were really good, and they were harmonizing. It was a man. It was a couple. They were married, and they were harmonizing really great. And they played like some Radiohead, and it was like countrified Radiohead, but it was still good.
Yeah,
I love to hear music like that. I don't want to hear him get up there and go, I hear play it, sing it just like, you know. I don't want to hear that.
I'm the same way.
And so like, I don't like country that much, but when I hear the country version of Radiohead song, that's kind of cool to me. And they're harmonizing and doing it well.
I really believe that you just haven't. I just believe you haven't been exposed to the right kind of country, and like musically, writing. I don't think you've been exposed to it. I just think sometime in your head you said I don't like country, and you shut it off, and you've never. I did that with pop music forever. Like I don't know, from the time I was 15 till I was probably 35, I was like, I don't like pop music. It's ridiculous.
I've always liked pop music.
I fucking hated it, right? Like, I was like, I hate pop music. I like metal. I like outlaw country. I like rock and roll.
Hey,
that's what I like.
Popular is right in the name of the music.
Well, I know.
Popular.
Well, now, like, I could listen to Michael Jackson for hours. I can listen to Prince for hours. I've discovered there's some pop that's just really
great.
It's really great.
Dude, I like pop. I like Billie Eilish. And
I like some Billie Eilish.
Some of those songs are amazing.
I'm open to a lot more things. I feel like, and I could be wrong, but I feel like you just said no to country, and there's a lot of like really great writing and really storytelling.
Well, I know
storytelling.
I know. You're right. I put up a block.
Yeah, you were just like no.
But you know what kind of got me into like Sturgill Simpson was he did a cover of Nirvana.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, this is really good. Just like with the Radiohead thing, I was like, man, this is a really cool version
you should start there.
of this.
You can listen to you should listen to Sturgill do In Bloom. You can listen to like Cody Jinks do Soundgarden, Black Hole Sun, and then you can listen. You can listen to somebody else's, and then you can be like, and then you can kind of go down the wormhole a little bit, and
Then I'm listening to Waffle House and Applebee's.
No, that's not how that would work.
It's not.
You would hate that more because you're like, wow, this is so good. I really hate that country I used to hate even more. I hate it even more.
What about Old Town Road?
You would hate it more. Just like I still hate a lot of pop music. I really do. But some of it's so great, it's undeniable. And I was just so close-minded for a long time that I was like, I can't hear it, I won't hear it. I didn't even listen to it or know.
I listened to
I didn't like it.
I listened to Garth.
Like it.
I listened to Garth Brooks. Like I bought like when I discovered
I really
Garth
don't
Brooks
like
in
Garth
the
Brooks.
late '90s.
I really don't like
I just
Garth.
like bought the whole box set and like would drive down the road, listen to the whole thing.
I think Garth to me started pop country. He's the reason people like Luke Bryan exist.
Well, I thought it, like, did he write all of his own songs?
Hell no.
He didn't?
Hell no.
Oh, okay. Well,
He didn't write Friends in Low Places. That's not even his song. He covered
Oh, really?
It's a cover.
oh.
No one knows that.
No, I didn't know that. I thought
always tell people
I thought maybe he was so great because he wrote all of his own songs.
I always tell people, all these people, I'm like, oh, that's a cover from all these different. And they're like, oh, that's a cover. They have no idea. Yeah, that's Friends in Low Places' biggest song. It's a cover. That was the, gosh, I don't remember but it's a famous country guy, and he had released it in '85, had it on an album. Garth just did it a little better.
Then that guy got rich, right?
Oh,
if he owned the rights to the music.
The guy was already, whoever it is, and I'll think of it in a minute. Actually, I can just Google it. But he was already like a platinum selling artist. But
okay.
Of course, when Friends in Low Places gets covered, and that's your song, you're gonna make millions.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, Garth started pop country to me.
I like Johnny Cash, but I don't put Johnny Cash in a country.
Man, he is country.
He is, but he's outlaw country.
Outlaw country, rockabilly, and rock and roll.
See, I like that.
Yeah.
I like Johnny Cash a lot.
You like Waylon Jennings? Waylon Jennings is the man.
I don't really listen to Waylon. Maybe I need to spark that up.
Waylon Jennings is unbelievable. Billy Joe Shaver. I think you'd love Billy Joe Shaver. I told you about Billy Joe Shaver. That's one of the guys that shot the guy. No, I told you about Johnny Paycheck shooting the guy.
Johnny Paycheck.
Billy Shaver also shot a man in the face.
These guys are like rappers.
Billy Joe Shaver shot a man. This is like 7 or 8 years ago. He's like 70. He was like 75 years old. So Billy Joe Shaver's in a bar, and Billy Joe Shaver's an outlaw country singer. Billy Joe Shaver wrote one of Waylon Jennings. He wrote his whole album. Waylon Jennings' biggest album was written by Billy Joe Shaver, but that's another story. But Billy Joe Shaver's in this bar, right? He's a Texas boy, doesn't take any shit. But he's an old man at this point, right? Mm-hmm. So this guy comes up and he starts talking. Anyway, the guy says something that Billy Joe deems disrespectful, and Billy Joe tells him, he says, "Hey, I'm not going to let that slide." And the guy's like, "Oh, really, old man? You're not gonna let it slide?" He's like, "Yep, I'm not gonna let that slide." He goes, "I'm gonna have to kick your ass or something." The guy goes, "Oh, I'd kind of like to see that." He said, "Let's go outside." So the guy goes outside. Billy Joe walks right behind him. So when they get outside, the guy pulls a knife. Billy Joe pulls a gun, shoots him in the face.
Oh my gosh!
So he had to go.
Wow.
He had to go to jail.
That guy died?
No, he didn't. Shot him through the cheek.
Oh my gosh!
Shot him through the cheek.
It's not like the movies when you shoot somebody, is it? I love in the movies, you're like bang, and it's like ooh, and they fall down. It's like in real life, you shoot somebody, and they're like, if they have a gun, they're like bam, 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 as they're going down.
Yeah,
it's like they just like do this in the movies. Pow! Ooh,
oh, he didn't shoot him. He didn't shoot him back because he just had a knife. He just had a knife.
But what I'm saying is like you can shoot somebody like this, and it's like it might not kill him.
So even in court, Billy Joe Shaver's such a badass. Even in court, when they're like, "Well, explain what happened," and he's like, "This guy said some off the wall shit, and I wasn't letting it ride." And they were like, "What?" And he's like, "Yeah." He's like, he talked sideways to me, and he said, "I'm from Texas, and we don't let that go." They're like, "So you shot him?" He's like, "Yep."
And they were like, "Well, you're guilty."
Yeah, you're guilty. So
and you're gonna enjoy the rest of your life in prison.
He did. He did just a few years because obviously nobody died, and you.
Oh,
can't,
really?
Yeah, and the guy did have a knife. Of course.
Okay.
Of course, you are like 8 or 10 yards away. You've got plenty of time to leave, and you did tell him to go outside. You did follow him outside with a gun.
I always feel like if somebody's coming at me with a knife and I got a gun on me, I'm just shoot him in the leg.
Why?
Just to get away from him. I don't want to kill anyone. That sucks. They'd have to live with that. Even I would feel bad if someone broke in my house and I shot him dead. I would still feel bad. Still feel bad about killing somebody. You know what I mean? I wouldn't be like everybody on the internet. It's like, yeah, I'd shoot that dude dead. Blah, blah. But then you got to live your life after that.
Yeah, I wouldn't.
What I mean?
I would say I wouldn't want to kill, especially somebody that broke in my house. But I would kill them.
I would.
And my intent would be to kill them.
But I wouldn't be bragging about it.
It wouldn't be something that's awesome.
It's not awesome.
People that seem to have murder fantasies.
It's very unfortunate for everyone involved. It's very unfortunate.
Yeah, they've never been in like a war situation, or they've never seen death, or like these, that. Now, but if somebody was trying to kill me, I don't think I would struggle to kill them. I don't think I would have issue with that.
No, I would. No. I'm all for defending myself to the end.
Now, like in Billy Joe Shaver's
I'm
case,
just saying after you're done with it.
Now here's the other thing Billy Joe said. Billy Joe said, now look, to the judge too, I think but he said, look, when I'm going outside, I do have a gun, but I'm just going outside to whip this guy's ass. So until then he decided to pull a knife. Well, the guy's already younger than me, stronger than me. He pulled a knife, so I shot him.
Yeah,
that's how shit went down.
Kind of self-defense.
Yeah, but
shot him in the face though.
Yeah, shot him in the face.
Attempted murder. But I think above the waist is attempted murder.
Yeah, above the waist, attempted murder. And if you're more than like 5 yards away, that they considered attempted murder because you have plenty. You can get away. Get away. You're not like in imminent danger. But Billy was so there's some great stories about Billy Joe.
Wow.
And when I told you he wrote Waylon Jennings' whole album, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he's playing. Billy Joe's playing some of his songs one night, and Waylon happened to be there. And Waylon was like, "Man," he's like, "Oh, I really like those songs." He's like, "Oh, thank you." He's like, "Well, I'd like to cut some of those one day." Well, they're just talking and drinking or whatever, right? So Waylon leaves. So Billy Joe goes to Nashville, where Waylon's at, and like finds him in a recording studio. Well, he tries to call him for like a year. Waylon will never answer his phone calls because he's just some dude, right?
Right.
Who just happened to be playing music with one night, like in a living room, drinking. And just, when you're drinking, we could do something one day. Everybody does that kind of shit, right? Mm-hmm. So, as Waylon Jennings is a massive star at this point. This is like the mid-'70s. So, this is leading up to the album Honky Tonk Heroes, Waylon's biggest album. So, Billy Joe comes to the studio. He finds where Waylon Jennings at and goes to the studio. So, Waylon's in there. He's like, what the fuck does this guy want? He's like, what does this dude want? And they're like, I don't know, but he won't leave. So, Waylon comes out in the hall where Billy Joe's at. Waylon walks out in the hall with 3 Hell's Angels, 2 on each side, 1 back. Walks out. So, and Waylon's a big dude too, like 6'4". He's got these 3 massive Hell's Angels. Got these 3 Hell's Angels with him. Walks out in the hall. Walks up to Billy Joe. He's like, "What do you want, Hoss?" Billy Joe's like, "You said you were going to record my songs, and I've been trying to call you, and you've been ducking me. You're going to record my songs." He's like, "No, man." He goes, like, that ain't how shit goes. He goes, "Oh no." He goes, "Let me tell you something." He goes, "You gonna listen to me play these songs, and you're gonna record them, or I'm gonna whip your ass." They say Billy Joe Shaver had a death wish, and so Waylon said, "Let me tell you something." He said, "We're gonna go in that room. You're gonna play me a song. If I like it, you can play me another one. If I like that one, you can play me another one. When I tell you to leave, you get the fuck out." He was like, "That's fair." They went in this room, sat down. Billy Joe played like 12 straight songs.
Oh, wow. That's awesome.
And Waylon goes, "God damn it.
You just wrote my next album."
He goes, "I know what I got to do." And Billy Joe Shaver wrote 10 of 12 songs on Honky Tonk Heroes for Waylon Jennings.
I got to listen to this.
You got to listen to Honky Tonk
Heroes.
Heroes.
I like the story, and then listening to it, it makes it better for me.
Now that you've heard the story,
yeah,
and you can listen to Honky Tonk Heroes and those great songs, that's how you get stuff done. You talk about perseverance, like that's not giving up, right? Like and this is pre-internet, so you're like you're traveling to like a city, and then once you get to the city, you've got to track down like the biggest country star in the world, get into the studio, deal with all the, get through all the, everybody's looking at you. When you walk in, everybody's like, who is this guy?
Who's this guy?
And this is and Billy Joe Shaver's like a hayseed from Texas. I mean, he's like stained tobacco shirt, like dirty pants and dirty cowboy hat, and they're like, what the fuck? But I always thought that was a cool
Whenever
story.
I think of like country music and stuff like that, I always think of the Wonderful World of Whites. Wonderful Whites
of West Virginia,
with Jessica White, who's the famous mountain dancer.
Yeah,
and you get up and dance and you do all that. That's what I think of when I.
Yeah. You know who's in that? You know what country singer's in that movie, right?
Yeah,
remember Hank Williams III.
Hank Williams III.
Who's an absolute badass who has a punk band,
yeah, and
a country band. So when I saw Hank 3, I saw he did a 4-hour set, and he played. So first he comes out and he plays like 3 Hank Jr. songs, right? So he plays those 3 Hank Jr. songs, and he says, "All right, now that shit's out of the way. I'm gonna do my own songs." So he plays 2 hours of his song, ripping set, and it was a packed house. I mean, it was packed. About a 600-seater, and it was full. Well, he finishes his country set. He takes his ponytail down, shakes it loose, goes and gets a leather vest, puts it on, grabs an electric guitar, comes up to the mic. He's like, "This is the point of the show. We're about 90% of you motherfuckers are going to want to leave.
Are gonna leave.
Yeah, and he breaks into Ass Jack. He goes from this country hillbilly set, breaks into Ass Jack where he's grinding a microphone into his forehead,
like punk
bleeding
band.
all over the place, stage diving, absolute chaos. And it literally, dude, it went from 600 people in that club. Within 15 minutes, I looked around, there was like 18 of us left.
Right.
It was
wow.
And he played to us 18 people for an hour.
That's awesome.
Of hardcore punk.
Because that's what he wants to play. That's what makes him happy.
He plays in Superjoint Ritual with Phil Anselmo.
Oh, really?
He's his bass player.
I had no idea. Oh, really? That's awesome.
Hank 3 was the bass player for Superjoint Ritual. I saw him on Ozfest 03 with Hank 3 there. But then the next year I saw him do the country set, do the hardcore set, and he cleared that room. It was like people were running for the door. And it just went from like, and it's bananas. He's got even his country set, he's got a stand-up bass player that looks like he's inbred, like with buck teeth and like buck teeth and wild eyes and like wearing overalls with no shirt, like just getting the fuck down. If you ever, I don't know,
man. I was listening to like At the Drive-In at the time from Austin, and then all those bands. I didn't really get into all that.
Man, I wish
you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
though, right?
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and then the band after At the Drive-In, but they got a new album coming out, by the way.
Do they?
Not At the Drive-In. What was the band after At the Drive-In? I'm sorry, I'm changing the subject.
No, you're on the same subject.
We
change the subject all the time. That's what we do.
Right. It's real quick. I'm looking it up because it's actually it's really good. Man, the Mars Volta new album.
Oh yeah, Mars Volta.
They've released 3 songs off this new album. All 3 of them are awesome.
Mars Volta's
but the
amazing.
Mars Volta is like the lead singer of At the Drive-In.
Oh,
and they are great.
I both those bands. I didn't know that.
You didn't know that? They are great.
They are really
They're
good.
so good. I love like that. It's like art and music meet and do the dance. You know?
Well, that's how.
But I gotta listen to the album you're talking about.
Honky Tonk Heroes.
Honky Tonk. I'm gonna put it right now in my iTunes.
Yeah.
On there.
And then just dig into Billy Joe Shaver a little bit. You'll like him. Dig into some of these outlaw guys. I think if you dig into the outlaw guys and you kind of lose some of your bias, because the storytelling's amazing. And you know,
Honky Tonky Rose.
Honky Tonk Heroes. Heroes. Like
Honky Tonk Rose.
Hey, Honky Tonk Rose is a good name for an album too.
Yeah,
that's not bad. I like it.
Honky Tonk Rose.
Honky Tonk Heroes.
Yeah, I hear you. Got it. Hey, if you want Honky Tonk Rose, that's not anybody on here. You're good to go.
It's not.
You're good to go with that band or that album.
That album or that name.
Yeah, Honky Tonk Heroes, Waylon Jennings.
Yeah, and just some of the they have just great stories. Like, Merle Haggard only became. You know how Merle Haggard even became an artist? He was in jail for like his 17th time, and he got released because Johnny Cash got him out. Johnny Cash came to play.
Was that in the movie?
No,
I'm one of these guys that's like, was that in the movie?
It was not in the movie, but Merle Haggard he was a career criminal. He was literally a career criminal. He was in like his 17th stint in prison. I think he was set to do like 29 years. And he saw Cash play, and he's like, I'm going to start playing country. Merle Haggard starts writing country. Cash sees how great it is. Johnny Cash writes a letter to the governor to pardon Merle Haggard because he's got a gift to give to the world. The governor pardons Merle Haggard. Merle Haggard becomes Merle Haggard.
That's unbelievable.
I know.
20. He was going to go to prison for 27 years.
He was already on his 17th time in prison.
He pardoned him?
Yeah.
Because he was just like a good...
Because Johnny Cash had stroke. Johnny Cash was seen as like American icon and
Americana.
Kind of seen like American Pie baseball Johnny Cash, right? Johnny Cash writes somebody a letter. You go like Elvis. One of those guys writes you a letter.
I like that Johnny Cash song where it goes like this. Doom da da 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 doom, and he leads in with the vocal. It's just so funny to me.
Which one is that?
I don't know. It's like doom da da doom. Then he goes home, and he just hums in the beginning. Home.
He's such a great. He was
just like, wow, that's genius.
Cash was such a great storyteller, and just He just sounded so.
I think he phoned that one for a second. Just
Yeah.
a second.
Yeah.
Just a second. He just like hums that one in.
He's like, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what I'm doing here.
And maybe he forgot the. What's great about things like that in the studio is you do forget the lyrics.
Oh, yeah.
And you go, and then it's like leave it.
Leave it.
That's
It sounds
awesome.
great.
It's like.
It's like when Kim laughed.
Yeah, it's like when Kim
was
laughed.
recording.
Kim was
Dana.
It's like when you get so messed up with your band before you record in the Garden of Eden, and you go in a Garden of Eden, and it was like in a Garden of Eden. What does that mean? That's like some gibberish, and it meant in the Garden of Eden.
Yeah,
they were so messed up
that it became in a Garden of Eden, and that became the title of the song. And it's like in that song.
There's so many things in songs like that. I love
the stories of, as you know, obviously, because I'm always like that's all I read. Like I've read all these books and all these biographies and all this, so I have all this useless information about all these artists because it's super interesting.
Well, now we get to talk about it.
Yeah,
now we get to talk about it. It's not useless.
It's obvious. All these years,
it's
I thought
fun.
It was useless, but now like people are like, oh, maybe you. When I'm telling stuff, see, like, and here's the thing. This is like my disconnect. Every time I'm telling these stories, these music stories, I have this assumption that everyone in the world already knows all this, and it'd be like telling people the alphabet, like
right.
So that's
nobody. I don't think anybody knows.
And then when
this.
I think I'm like, but then when I talk to people, I'm like, wait, nobody knows.
I mean, I don't even know. Like, I don't know them.
Yeah,
I don't know.
And then some bands, this is probably like you with Tool or whatever. Like some bands, I'm so into. That like I know everything, and I assume everyone else does too. And then I'm like, oh, they probably don't know this, right?
Right. I do love Tool. Tool is a good band.
They're a really good band. Who would you say is your favorite band? You had to if you had to pick one band, you could.
You want to put me on an island?
You're on an island. You can only take one catalog.
One catalog of every song ever written by a band.
Yep.
The Beatles.
Beatles are a good one.
Every song they ever wrote, the Beatles.
The Beatles are a good one.
I really would. I love all their songs.
The Beatles are a top 5.
I could if it was like, hey Mike, you only get to listen to one band the rest of your life. It would be the Beatles. The Beatles. They've got so many different.
They're so good.
So good, and the songwriting's so good. It's so good.
So good.
It's like one of those things where. I mean, you talk about catching lightning in a bottle. There's no lightning, there's no bottle. It's like it's unbelievable what they did.
Yeah, it's
even their like goofy stuff and their pop because they were a pop sensation.
Yeah, they're like, I want to hold your hand.
Yeah,
but their harmonies were so good,
and it was so good. And then they got
not as good as the Beach Boys harmonies.
They just got better and better and better and
way better and way better.
Then they did a bunch of drugs and got really awesome.
Got super cool and
they
psychedelic,
got, like, so psychedelic and chilled out. And then there was like, I guess I'm gonna write me a song today, and it's gonna be a #1.
I don't think some people know like what road dogs the Beatles were like before they became the Beatles that we know. They're like in the Tavern Club playing 14-hour sets.
Oh, jeez,
playing 4 and 5 sets back to back to back to back to back, and they're doing this 100 nights, 150 nights a year. Like these guys were not like. Some guys that people put together and piece together. This is a band of musicians. Like,
what if I would have been like, totally. Let me. The band's gonna be Oingo Boingo.
Yeah. Oingo Boingo had a 2-second run.
2-second run. It's like I'm gonna listen to Oingo Boingo and kill myself on this island.
You ever think about how those poor bastards like that left bands like that? Like, okay, Pete West for the Beatles. Ron McGovney.
Well, did Pete West get kicked out or did he leave?
Either way, I'm saying people that were there when they were nobodies, like when they're just like barely
depressed the rest of your life.
Ron McGovney for Metallica. No one even knows who you are.
I don't even know who you're talking about.
Ron McGovney's the bass player before Cliff Burton.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. How about? But here's the thing. Speaking of Metallica, I like Dave Mustaine leaves and starts Megadeth and then just plays music the rest of his life with Megadeth and has a very serious cult following.
Oh, Megadeth.
Huge.
Dave Mustaine's my third favorite guitarist that's ever lived. Megadeth's probably my second or third favorite band that's ever
I
been
listen
made.
to so much Megadeth, I can tell you if it's Marty Friedman soloing or if it's Dave Mustaine because of their distinct.
Have you seen them?
No, I've never seen them.
God.
I didn't go to a lot of concerts. For me, the kind of getting there and the leaving.
It's a lot.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
The getting there and the leaving's a lot. And now,
But some things are worth it. Like seeing Mustaine play's worth it.
well, I mean, I've seen Tool like 4 times or 5 times.
So you go to shows.
I'll go to those shows, and if somebody is really into somebody and they want me to go, I'll go. But I'm not. And I liked going to like Vans Warped Tour, and I quit going to the one in Atlanta because there was too many people. Funny story. Me and my son Noah, we went to Vans Warped Tour for like the last 4 years when it was still a thing, and we went one year, and there were too many people in Atlanta. We went, my brother and everybody, we all went, and there was too many people. I was like, this is miserable. So like then we went to, me and Noah were going the next year, just us. I pull into the gas station to get gas. I just look up real quick what time the bands are playing, and I see that it was the day before. And I was like, and Noah was probably like 14.
Yeah.
So
you just broke his heart.
He's going to be upset.
Yeah.
So I said, okay, then I looked up real quick when the next one was. Well, that was tonight in Jacksonville. The next one was going to be in Orlando. So I got back in the car and I said, Noah, we missed the show. It was yesterday. But what we're going to do is we're going to go home real quick and we're going to pack some clothes and we are going to make a beeline.
That's a badass
Orlando.
dad. That's a top dad move. That's hats off for that one.
We drove to Orlando. We drove to Orlando, and the next night the next day they played in Orlando, and the Orlando show, no one was there. We walked to the front of every stage. I mean, there was probably, oh my gosh,
10,000?
Not even 10,000. Dude, we were just walking and getting water and food and walking to the front of the stage, Ice Nine Kills right in the front, and just be like, hey there, and like Wage War and all these bands that we went to go see, and we were just like right in the front. So then like for the next 2 or 3 years, they had a show in Jacksonville, which is close.
Yeah.
Then Orlando, and then outside of Miami. Okay. So they had 3 shows in Florida. In Atlanta, in Atlanta, they have a show in Atlanta. Everybody from like South Carolina, everybody just converges.
It's the only show in Georgia.
Place.
There's only doing one in Georgia, right? They hit Atlanta, they're going to hit New Orleans, they're going to hit Dallas.
I'm not sure where it skips from, but obviously it probably skipped over Mississippi and Alabama and came to Atlanta. They didn't stop anywhere in there.
There's nothing in there, nowhere to stop.
There's nowhere to stop. It's like punk music and metal music. Maybe.
Yeah.
But like so we just started going for the next 2-3 years. Just going to Orlando, and we had it was always like that.
Oh, that's amazing.
That's
this super cool.
It rained like
you think 5,000?
5,000, maybe.
That's a small van.
Dude, it was great. You just be right in front.
And Atlanta probably had what, 18,000?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, it was crazy. So this what we're all standing around, and it's raining, and we're all like inside this little. They had like a little. It was like on the outside of. I don't know what they have in Orlando, but some kind of football team that's not a big football team, I guess. I don't know. But
like a semi-pro team or something?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
But
or soccer?
No, it was
football.
It was definitely a football team.
Yeah.
But it was tiny, so it might have been like the high school or something.
Yeah.
Who knows? But like, we're standing there, it's raining, and there's all this mud around, and there's all these kids, and I kept walking up to like I'd see some kids that like I'd walk up and be like, hey, like. I bet if you ran out there right now and just slid in that mud, everybody would just start sliding and everybody going. He's like, yeah, man, that's cool. I'm going to do that. And then I'll like go to the next person over there. I was like, hey, man, I bet if you like ran out there and just slid in that mud pile right there, everybody. I orchestrated this. Orchestrated this huge mudslide thing where everybody just started running out and sliding in the mud where they had to break it up.
You made the party fun.
I did. I was just like walking around like, hey, you. I bet it would be awesome if you just ran out there and slid in that
Why'd
mud.
they make it stop? This is supposed to be a rock and roll show.
Well, it was, but it was like thundering and lightning. So like everybody, they were like telling everybody to stay in until like the lightning went on.
Yeah.
And I just started nudging everybody. And then when that went, it just everybody just started going nuts and like sliding in the mud and stuff. And I just sat back and watched my spoils.
Isn't that wild how mobs will be like even you get get large groups of people and you could have.
Hey, it would be really cool if you started this.
Yeah,
you'd be the man. Do it.
And
you know, and he was.
And it worked.
And it worked. I knew it would work.
Yeah.
I talked to enough people. Somebody's running out there.
Yeah.
And they did. The first dude just like ran out and just belly flopped right in. It just slid like 10 feet, and then everybody just started going.
It literally worked just like you thought it would
worked
work.
Exactly how I thought it would.
So how far a drive is? That's a long drive though, right, to Orlando? From where you were, Atlanta?
Well, from Atlanta, yeah, it was like 6 hours.
Oh, 6?
6 hours. So
Oh, that's nothing. Oh.
my parents have a house down there, so it was all right. We went to the house down there instead.
Oh, okay, yeah. That's. I was thinking it was.
My parents live there, so like I was like, let's go to the parents' house.
Oh, your
hang out
parents
there.
live in Orlando?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, no, they live in Daytona Beach. Well, right above Daytona Beach.
Just how far from? Not far from Orlando.
30 minutes.
Yeah.
35, 40 minutes.
I never caught a Warped Tour. There was always a lot of bands I didn't like, and there was only a few that I really liked. And
Speaking of Daytona Beach, how about when MTV was going to Daytona Beach all the time? Spring break.
90s.
Now you can go on like I think it's Hulu or something, and they have Yo MTV Rap Spring Break in Daytona Beach. It's like Biz Marquis like on stage. You got what I need, and it's like crazy.
You're talking about you can watch the actual spring breaks from like 92, 94, or whatever.
And they actually kicked MTV out of Daytona Beach and killed that town. They all got together and kicked them out because they caused so much. Like every window in a hotel was busted out. Like the hotels started like, we don't want these people coming here. They just like this huge party ascended on Daytona Beach every year for spring break with MTV, and it was just crazy.
Why can't people who are like smart enough to be like seniors in college behave when they go on spring break?
It's a time to let loose.
I mean, I let loose when I went on spring break too, but I let loose, but I didn't like.
I wasn't allowed to go on spring break
In college?
No, I didn't go to spring break in college.
Why?
I was playing in a band.
Even better.
Yeah. Well, I had fun.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, no, like in high school though, there were people going to spring break in high school.
I was
down there.
I was as
a senior.
As a senior.
I didn't go on a senior spring break. I didn't get to do that.
Did you go on a senior trip?
No.
No senior trip.
No.
I went to Panama City Beach and got ridiculous and I woke up, this is true, so like 3 days into the trip, and I was really partying in 95, and 3 days into the trip I wake up and I stumble by the mirror. I mean, I'm starting the day with shower drinks and funneling by noon, and I mean it's bananas, right? We're going ham.
And Frank the Tank.
As you do. Oh yeah. I mean, I'm 18 like on spring break and at that time you could be at that time the legal drinking age was 18 in Louisiana.
Right. I remember that.
It was
back
18 when I was 18 and changed when I was 19 or 20. So anyway, we bought like 20 cases of beer legally here and just took them to Panama City Beach.
Which is a big no.
Yeah, it was a bit
because of like taxes or whatever.
Right, but we knew like we felt
who cares?
We felt like we could load the truck up and weren't going to so we had like 20 cases of beer, we had just handles of vodka, and we just got down there and went crazy. But anyway, so day 3 I wake up and I'm stumbling by the mirror. As I'm stumbling by the mirror, I go, "Hey guys," I was like, "Who in the hell let me get a diamond stud in my left ear?"
What?
I had one perfect diamond stud in my left ear, which is like, which that's like, anybody that knows me, that's like not something I would do or not something that's in my personality or my character to have one diamond stud. Like, I was like, they're like, "What are you talking about?" They're like, "You insisted on getting that." I was like, "I would never insist on this." And they're like, "Yeah, man, you just had to get your ear pierced and you went and got." I was like, so I've been walking around for like 2 days with this diamond stud. I didn't have no idea because I was blackout. Oh
my gosh!
And I was like, well, this has got to go, and took it out and then continued to party. It was a good time. No, that was my first no parents.
Why didn't you keep the diamond stud, bro?
I really hated it a lot.
Oh, really?
I wasn't a fan of that.
Do you
look.
see where like the chain now is popular again? Like the one. I don't know what ear. And nothing means nothing anymore.
Yeah.
But like, there's like a.
You should have 2 ears. You should pierce both ears, right? If you're
I had
earrings.
both my ears pierced.
Right.
I got both my ears pierced when I turned 18, and I was still living with my parents. And I walked in with my ears pierced, and they thought they were magnets because they didn't think I would do that. They didn't think like under their roof I would get my ears pierced. And I was like, "Oh yeah, they're magnets," and they were not.
They just believed you?
Yeah, they believed me
Forever?
Yeah.
They know now, though, right?
Oh yeah.
Because obviously you still have holes in your ear.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, well, I think I told them later. I showed them later that I did, but it was. I don't know why it's such a big deal. Who gives a shit?
Parents in the 80s and 90s.
I wasn't gonna be a doctor. Let's get real.
Yeah,
let's get real.
I raising my kids, which are all grown and fine and balanced. I was like, told my wife from day one, I was like, I'm never fighting battles about hair, earrings, fashion, like all that shit changes all the time. Kids are gonna do what they want to do. That what feels good to them makes them individual.
Right.
Who wants to, why are you, what, there's so much more important shit to deal with when you're raising children on how to be like adults and how to function in the world. Then they could, imagine if I'd have spent 3 years of my energy fighting with Cameron about his long hair.
Oh my gosh.
Just a waste of
time.
What a waste of our father-son time.
I always told my kids, it's like, you want to have long hair when they're in high school. It's like, now's the time. You want to have, do all that.
Do whatever you want when you're 19, 20,
now's
17.
The time. And then I was always like, there is a time and place for everything, and that's called college.
Yeah, you can do anything. You can do anything you want to do. Really, I say through your 20s for sure. Like, just do what you want to do. Like, there's no rush. There's no timeline. Like, you don't have to be like at this position by this age. I'm 26 now. I need to be married and have my mortgage, and I need to be excel my career. There's like all this shit is ridiculous.
Yeah,
like enjoy your life.
Well, I just never wanted to put any kind of pressure on my kids to.
Me neither.
Just be yourself, and then be
a good person.
We'll figure it out. It's like you go through life. If you don't you want to go through life and be a good person, and don't on purpose hurt anyone.
Which is part of being a good person, right?
Yeah,
be a good person, be a good friend, be cool. Like, be yourself. What is yourself? Like, all three of my children are all completely different. They're just completely different kids. That's that's who you should be.
Yeah, they should be different. They shouldn't be like Stepford kids and Stepford wives.
Who wants a bunch of little robots? I mean,
no. I know. I feel like some people do.
I feel like society tried to program us for a long time. Still trying to program people.
No, that's 100%. What do you go to school for? You go to school to get programmed. I mean, that's straight up same thing.
Yeah, because we need workers, not thinkers. That's what they said.
Yeah, we need people smart enough to push the paperwork around, but not be critical thinkers.
When they started publishing, I think we've talked about that before. They actually stated, "I need obedient workers, not thinkers."
Right, and we're just going to push you through this, and you do the work, and then you get the grades, and then you do.
Where do you think all the stuff came from? Like, oh, you can't have your hair like this. You can't wear this. You can't have earrings. Is that
conformity?
So is that from
the top?
Is that from
I think it's fear. I think the fear of the unknown. I think like
Judeo-Christian values.
Jesus had long hair.
I know.
Just think it.
They hung out with prostitutes, but you can't.
Oh God, don't do that. But I think prostitutes are probably really, really cool individuals who have stories to tell.
Here's what we know about them, right? You know this, that they're human.
The ones that aren't completely strung out.
Even the ones that are strung out are human and have some sort of life story and things happen. Who knows why they got here?
They're people.
They're probably not wanting to do this either. Right?
I always think people were always a baby. Yeah. Everyone was always a little baby. At some point, somebody was a baby. And somebody loved that baby. Or they didn't.
And somebody grows it, or they didn't, and they grow up to be shitheads. There's a lot of shitheads.
Yeah.
There's not as many as I think. I think there's more good, cool people. I think the internet and the news and the world makes us think that everyone's bad and evil and you're going to get shot everywhere. And I personally run into more good people who are genuine and nice and want to do right than I do just absolute shitbags.
I always told my kids and everybody that we have this conversation with them, like, look, all of this stuff that they push on you about how everybody's out to get you, blah, 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 everybody's mean, everybody's an asshole. It's like, I don't deal with any of that until it hits my front door.
Yeah, that's right.
Until it hits my front door, I don't have to deal with it. It's like I go out in town, I hold the door for people hold the door for me. Different races, different colors, we're all holding them, we're all smiling at each other, we're all doing everything. It's not like the news where I feel like the news pushes this agenda on us where we just nobody's getting along today and everybody's all uptight about who they are. And it's just that's not true here.
That's not
true in my life.
It's not true at all, right? Like I mean,
here's another thing I saw. You're speaking about like there are some shitheads. Everybody's a shithead.
Yeah, there are some.
I saw this thing the other day where this like person is pushing like this thing where there are real NPCs in life. Like this is a video game or something. Like talking about. We've talked about it.
I think there's NPCs walking.
You think there's NPCs walking around?
I don't know if I really think that. Like I don't know if I really think that, but
I
God,
think that
sometimes I look at people and I really feel.
I think that we romanticize the idea that there's something bigger and better, and that people that are like that are NPCs because they're shitheads, or that they don't make any sense to us.
Or they don't look like real people. Like
they don't look like real people.
Or they look like, it looks like a character of what somebody would create as like, but these are the normal people. And they
let's go with everybody. Everything is just how we were. Everything is normal. And somebody's saying that certain people are NPCs. Well, like I said, everybody always ended up as a little baby.
Yeah.
Unless we are living in a computer program or a game that we started or something.
The simulation, I'm starting to think there's a greater chance we are in a simulation than are not in a simulation.
Well, who said that? That he said that we probably aren't in base reality. Elon Musk. Elon Musk said we probably aren't in base reality based on mathematical figures that goes through his brain.
And maybe I might have maybe Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Neil deGrasse Tyson said something like that too.
But
maybe it was Neil deGrasse Tyson.
I don't know, but as I think about it, I just find validity in that. Like it's more likely we are a simulation than aren't. Like the odds of it just happening seem more longer odds
than if we are in a simulation.
Than if we're in a simulation.
Because let's say, okay, so 100 years from now, we're able to plug into a computer and live a life that is exactly like the life we're living now, and you can't tell the difference, and then we make something in that simulation like that, and then that we forget that.
Well, it keeps scaling down. It keeps scaling down,
and you keep going down and down to where this isn't even base reality.
We could literally be the 1,000,000th iteration version of the simulation.
Base reality.
Where base reality started, say, I don't know, whatever.
I always had these like really great, like I would always think like, oh, I'm going to write a book like this, and it would be like, humanity. Everything about this is about the Matrix, right? So like the Matrix broke everybody's minds back then in '99 or whenever it came out, and it was like, okay, so like maybe we're in a spaceship floating around a dead Earth, plugged into a machine, and living the best time that people ever lived. Because right now, while we're living, this is the best time we've ever lived. Yeah. We've got the internet, we've got food, and not everybody around the world that we know of.
Food's pretty abundant.
It's pretty abundant, but like
we're living shelter for most folks.
We've got like the technology and everything. It's not like we're living in a simulation of like the 1400s where it was like, oh shit, now I got like I'm gonna scratch.
I've got to go crap off the side of this building onto the street,
and I'm gonna go over here and grab a hog, and hopefully I don't get some kind of disease from it before I feed my family, and everyone dies in town.
If you can, if there's a hog to grab, or if you might kill somebody to get to the hog.
So we're living in the so like maybe we're in an arc of sorts around a dead Earth planet that we're all plugged into a supercomputer that is generating our reality. Well, it's like a really cool.
That's what a simulation. That's the
simulation theory.
Works. Like the simulation theory. We're just
it's like, but where are we? Like we could be floating around a dead Earth. We could be on Earth. We could be not even on Earth.
We could be not.
We could not even be like this. Like you want to take the veil of reality and cut it with a knife and look through it, and like all this stuff isn't even like the stuff that we're used to seeing. Like maybe it's way different.
Well, I'm sure you've seen all this like glitches in the simulation before. Have you ever seen that? Like, and people like sometimes people be walking. Or just I've seen people walking, or they'll just like, and they'll do this for like 30 seconds.
Yeah. Or the planes that stop in the air.
This girl, she was like, something on her phone, and she was like, she walked to the back of her car, and she was just walking, and then she stopped, and she went, and glitched out for like 3 minutes.
I mean, she on drugs?
Walking by. She wasn't walking or moving or making any different motions. It was just the same motion, and then. Before and after, she just carried on as normal.
Really? Like, no acknowledgement of that?
No acknowledgement of that. Like, it was a literal glitch. She just stopped, and you got to, I've seen a few things like that.
Really?
Glitches in the simulation.
I've seen a lot of, like,
what is, so if it's not a simulation, how do those glitches occur? Why? Where does that weird stuff come from? Like, these things that don't look like the things that don't look like they're from Earth, and they can't be explained through science or other we cannot explain why this thing is happening, and it's happening like on video.
I think video can be manipulated.
Sure, it can. But you're going to say that you're going to go on the assumption that every one of these videos of glitches are simulated? I mean, are
maybe it's
manipulated?
just to confuse everyone and make everybody like weirded out about reality, like it doesn't matter. That's I'm just saying the other side of the story.
Who's the puppet master?
The puppet master is whoever controls everything.
We don't know the puppet master of the simulation.
The Pentaveret.
We don't know the puppet master
colonel
of the simulation.
The colonel with his wee beady eyes. Oh, you want to eat my chicken?
But yeah, I'm saying, what would be the reason to fake a glitch? To make people talk about a simulation that doesn't.
So you could throw doubt on it, on reality. Because what does it mean? Like what's the thing about saying like, oh well, maybe this isn't real? What does that do to people? If you convince enough people that it's not real, what does that make people feel like?
Well, what is real?
Well, real is smell, taste, touch, hearing, feeling, and
that's
all of that can be.
That's what we say real is.
But all of that also, on the other hand of that, all of that are electronical impulses that are shuttered to our brain.
Right.
So you could plug our brain or our consciousness into a computer, and all of those electronical impulses could be pushing us. So it's like, this is solid, this is drink, this is, that's all. I feel this way.
That's what real is. But if you die, you no longer have any of those things. Is nothing real anymore? Since you can't feel it, see it, hear it, is it not real anymore?
Well, I think
it's
maybe
still real,
maybe
right?
your consciousness goes somewhere else. It's like you can't take like what am I trying to say? Like the power or like your energy. Your energy isn't just dispersed like in a coil, like in a spring. There's spring and energy. So like when you die, your energy goes somewhere else.
Right. We talk about that. We're on the same page. I don't know, man. It's crazy. Like every time I think about it,
we have to do a show about simulation theory because I've read a couple of really good books about
like really a deep dive show.
Deep dive, we'll do a deep dive on that, and I want to do a deep dive on the moon landing. Because that's crazy.
We're going deeper on the you guys on TikTok really love the moon landing stuff.
The TikTok moon landing stuff went nuts, and like there's a lot to talk about with that. And I'll pull up like videos and stuff that we did
about everything.
I think so too. There's never enough time.
Like we're on episode 14.
14.
Wow.
And we're just getting into it.
And then we're just getting started. We'll be on episode 1400 before we know what happens.
Yeah, I know.
I guess Saturday.
Every time we sit here before we start, we're like, hey, what are we going to talk about? I don't know.
And then I look up and like an hour's gone.
Yeah.
So I guess we'll be back Saturday, huh?
Yeah. Check us out on TikTok.
Cool. See y'all then.
Bye.
Later. About an hour.